Good evening and welcome to Washington's Most Wanted. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Rose. And tonight, detectives are asking for your help to identify two suspects in a case that can teach all of us a lesson after a car theft led to a cascading series of felony crimes ending in arson. And this is what I'm talking about. Take a look at this stolen SUV and how it ended up. Just torched. It was found in Burien on Sunday, April 25th, after it was stolen in the First Hill area of Seattle 2 days earlier. The owner told deputies she and her brother share this vehicle and they leave the keys in it for convenience. Please don't do that. It makes it easy for thieves. Now, it was found abandoned in the Whisperwood apartments of Burien. Now, take a look at this possible clue. There was a hat that was found right next to the car. It's a California grizzly bear snapback red camo hat. You notice it's got a little Pikachu pin there. Now, they don't know if this belongs to the suspect or if somebody just lost their favorite hat. They're hoping that you can tell them. So the car theft is only one felony. And then there's the arson. But here's a whole nother serious crime, because in the back of that stolen SUV, look what they found. This is an ATM. They torched the ATM in the back of the car. This ATM was stolen from a pho restaurant.
Very odd case. Sunday morning at a business in Burien, owner reports to work and sees that an ATM that was inside her bar has been unbolted from the floor, and a couple of suspects drug it outside and loaded it in a gray Ford Escape. Just a couple of hours later, deputies in Burien respond to an apartment complex where they learn that that Ford Escape was stolen and set on fire with that ATM in the back. It appears up to $3,000 in cash was taken from that. This is an Asian-owned business, and we know how important it is that we support them in Southeast King County, Southwest King County, and elsewhere. We're going to ask for the community's help to take a look at this video, help us identify these suspects, and let's get them in custody.
Well, both suspects were wearing gloves and face coverings. You probably notice here the one suspect has to use a pry bar to really work at that door to get it open. He seems pretty frantic. That's because the alarm was going off. Detectives think these two must have hidden inside the restaurant until it closed and were locked inside. The alarm was going off as they hustled to drag the ATM out to the Ford Escape. So here are the best images from all of the evidence that they have. That's the hat found at the scene of the arson. And here's the best look at the two suspects in the restaurant in Burien. If you can identify either of them, Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000, and it is anonymous. Text your tip through the P3 Tips app on your cell phone or call 1-800-222-TIPS. Tonight, Lynnwood police are warning that purse thieves are targeting Asian women shopping at an international grocery store. And detectives need your help to identify one suspect you see here, caught on camera using a victim's stolen credit card at a Fred Meyer in Renton. He bought $500 worth of gift cards. The credit card was inside the victim's purse that was stolen out of the passenger seat of her car while she was loading her groceries.
Since November of last year, we have had approximately 11 instances at our H Mart over by Alderwood Mall in which Asian women were targeted and their purses stolen either from the cart they were pushing, from the vehicle they were getting in and out of, or directly from their person. The latest event we had was on April 6th of this year. We have a silver Ford Taurus, we believe, sedan with tinted out windows and black wheels. It was observed in the parking lot. It was observed as the vehicle from which the assailant came from, took the purse and went back to. That same vehicle was then observed at a Fred Meyer down in Renton, and a black male subject was identified as using the credit cards at that Fred Meyer that were stolen up here in H Mart.
Detectives say there's often a language barrier with the victims who don't always know who to talk to right away and either report the thefts the next day or not at all. They say that may play a part in why the store and its shoppers are being targeted more than other businesses. So if you can identify this suspect for Lynnwood police, please submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound. You can text it through the P3 Tips app on your cell phone or call the hotline at 1-800-222-TIPS. A cash reward of up to $1,000 is yours if that tip leads to his arrest. Tonight, King County Sheriff's detectives are asking for your help to find the suspect accused of ramming a stolen truck into two parked cars at an auto repair shop in SeaTac. This is 44-year-old Marcelo Sandoval-Escobar. Deputies believe he's somewhere in the Kent area. Detectives say this surveillance video from April 11th shows Marcelo wearing the Nike t-shirt. Deputies say he was driving a yellow Ford F-150 that day that had been stolen in Lynnwood in Snohomish County. Well, after the shop owner refused to open the door because they were closed, deputies say Marcelo got into that stolen truck and then rammed it into a white Ford Mustang parked outside, backed up, and then did the same thing to a black BMW, pushing both vehicles through the wall. Marcelo knows he's wanted because I aired this surveillance video right here on Washington's Most Wanted 2 weeks ago and asked for your help to identify him. You came through big time with multiple tips, all naming him, and now he's in hiding.
Detectives have now forwarded charges to the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, recommending he be charged with felony vandalism for the nearly $27,000 in damage, and also being in possession of a stolen vehicle, that yellow pickup that he used in that crime.
The truck was later found at a motel in SeaTac, but Sandoval has not been located. A check of his criminal history shows convictions going back to 2001 for mostly driving offenses, including hit and run. But he has recent pending cases before the court for vehicle theft, theft third degree, criminal trespass, and violation of a protection order, all in 2020. So if you can tell detectives where to find Marcelo Sandoval-Escobar, Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000. Submit an anonymous tip through the P3 Tips app or call 1-800-222-TIPS. Tonight, Snohomish police are hoping a bank robbery suspect's unique hat will help someone identify him. The ball cap says AmSoil on it. That's the name of a national fuel company that sells synthetic oil for most anything with wheels. Cars, motorcycles, snowmobiles, boats, you name it. The suspect wore that AmSoil mechanic hat for his heist at the Wells Fargo on 13th Street in the city of Snohomish Monday afternoon.
Came in from the parking lot, walked in on foot, no car seen. Walked into the bank, just walked right up to the first open teller that he saw. He had a piece of paper, it was a receipt type paper, had a note written on it. He handed it to the teller and he actually read it to her. It said, give me 20s, 50s, 100s, no die packs, no trackers. The teller immediately recognized that it was a robbery, handed over what he asked for, everything in her till, and he put it in his bag that he had with him and simply walked out the door. We canvassed the area right away, weren't able to find anyone. He left the location on foot, so we're thinking he possibly had a car somewhere nearby, but we're looking at all the possibilities.
Police describe the suspect as white, 20 to 30 years old, with an average build, maybe a little pudgy, 5'6" to 5 feet 10 inches tall, with medium length, straight, dark blonde or light brown hair. He wore a dark olive green jacket, black pants, and brown or tan hiking shoes, and again, the black AmSoil mechanic hat. He was carrying a big duffel bag that was gray and white. If you can help police identify him, Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000. You'll never be asked to give your name. Text that tip through the P3 Tips app or call the hotline. This next case will leave you scratching your head. Surveillance video showing a strange hit and run in Pierce County. Watch for yourself as the suspect's Dodge Charger drives slowly down to the end of a cul-de-sac of a neighborhood in the Frederickson area of Pierce County. This was last Saturday around 5 p.m. The driver seems to be safe, going slow and in total control. But then as the car makes the turnaround to leave, suddenly they gun it and they drive straight towards a Ford Expedition parked across the street and bam! Smash right into the passenger side of the SUV. Now for the really bizarre part, watch this. The driver and the passenger quickly get out and they swap places. The driver who caused that crash appears to be female with long hair wearing a pink colored jacket. The passenger who takes over the wheel wore darker clothes, could be a guy or a girl. They back up and then they just drive away. No note or anything. The owner of the Expedition says they didn't go very far at first.
They drove down the way, parked at a neighbor's house over on the other side, and then a man drove the car back over here and then screamed at my neighbors. I was told that she was being threatening, intimidating, saying I didn't hit anything, saying profanity words, trying to intimidate them, probably to scare them from giving me the information of what happened. That's when they called the police, and then he took off and went down the road and went out of the housing development.
Michelle says the crash did a lot of damage to her vehicle. She can't open either passenger side door, and there is significant damage to the inside as well. Michelle says she was set to take her kids camping this weekend in the Expedition. Now that trip had to be canceled, and she's not sure how much it's going to cost to get her SUV fixed.
If you have an accident, just Be honest, be upfront. You know, it's not that big of a deal. And most of the time you can figure it out, you know, and come to terms and get everything squared away between each other. But now, you know, if you do that, it makes bigger problems for you that you don't need.
Yeah, and you end up on Washington's Most Wanted. So take a good look at the suspects again. You recognize either of them, or you can tell Pierce County Sheriff's deputies where to find that charger. Submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers of Tacoma Pierce County through the P3 Tips app on your cell phone. Truck thefts have been rampant lately, especially Ford trucks. The Puget Sound Auto Theft Task Force says 22 of them have been stolen in just the last 7 days in South King County and Pierce County. Tonight, one business owner in Auburn is hoping somebody watching can identify the suspects who stole his Ford F-350 and a trailer full of tools. The task force says this woman is a person of interest in the theft, and they'd like to identify her. This happened on the afternoon of April 22nd. She was seen on a neighboring business's surveillance camera scoping out commercial crating and box packaging on R Street Northwest in Auburn. A short time after she left, this pickup truck drove slowly past the business. Well, it returned and stopped in front of Bill Johnson's truck and trailer. A couple of minutes later, the thief drives off with his truck and trailer, and that pickup truck follows along behind him.
They got all my tools that we'd normally use in our operation here and also on site. Makes it kind of difficult to recoup. We lost a little time and effort to get more tools and to do what we do here at Commercial Crating.
Johnson says his truck and trailer were found in Federal Way on Wednesday, but all of his tools were gone, and the door locks on both were busted and have to be replaced along with his ignition switch. He's now working on beefing up the security at his business with surveillance cameras and fences. And if you can identify this woman or tell detectives where to find the suspect's truck, please submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers through the P3 Tips app on your cell phone or call 1-800-222-TIPS. Now to Pierce County, where tonight the parents of a young man are asking for your help to get justice for their son. 29-year-old Joshua Perry was struck on the side of the road by a hit-and-run driver. Sheriff's detectives are searching for that driver, but they've got little to go on. Perry was hit in the 7700 block of Portland Avenue East in the Midland area of Pierce County around 11 p.m. on Thursday, April 15th. Passersby saw Josh in the street and called 911. The driver who hit him was gone, and Josh was unconscious. He fought for his life for the next 2 days, but he died on April 17th. A warning, the photos you're about to see of Josh in the hospital before he passed away may be disturbing. But I do want to show the harsh reality. I want the driver who did this to see how badly he was hurt. This driver left this man in the street and never stopped, and there's no way they didn't know they hit him. Detectives say they need your help, and Josh's dad desperately needs somebody to come forward with information to identify a suspect.
I don't know if the person did it intentionally or if they're intoxicated or what, but they just left. And I just hope they'll either grow a conscience or maybe somebody around them will convince them to turn yourself in.
Josh's parents have been divorced for years, but now they share broken hearts that their son is gone. Washington's Most Wanted's A.J. Janavel spoke with his mom, who says she just needs answers.
He did not stand a chance. It happened so fast. I hope to God he didn't see it coming.
Many people will pass this spot as they drive along Portland Avenue East in Tacoma, not think twice.
But for one mom, this is the location where everything she knew changed.
It's hard to believe this little spot totally destroyed my life.
29-year-old Joshua Perry did not have an easy life.
Jamie Mitchell tells Washington's Most Wanted her son battled addiction.
He had been trying really hard to turn his life around.
Perry had been living in an encampment near this road. Mitchell says she was able to check in on her son. She says she's still working to understand how that will no longer be possible.
And now when I go drive past somewhere, I look for the person because it looks like Josh and it looks like their silhouette. And I have to remind myself that he's never gonna be found on the street again. I'm not gonna ever be able to hug him or hold him and tell him I love him.
Orange spray paint still marks the street where on April 15th, a car slammed into Perry and kept driving, leaving him on the road late into the night. A few days later, Perry died in the hospital.
It's really important for somebody to come forward and help us. We need to find who did this. One, to hold them accountable, but two, to also give the family some closure so they know what happened that night.
You don't drive away from something like this unless you don't care.
Mitchell says what's hardest is she knew her son would eventually win his battle with addiction, get off the streets, and be a father to his 2 children. She says someone took that chance away from her son.
There's no words to describe how suffocated I feel. My heart actually aches. And there's nothing I can do to make that go away because my son's gone.
Again, this happened on Thursday, April 15th in the Midland area on Portland Avenue East at about 11:20 p.m. If you have any information or if you travel that route, maybe you see somebody with new front end damage to their vehicle, please submit any info to Crime Stoppers of Tacoma Pierce County. They're offering a cash reward of up to $1,000, and you can do it through the P3 Tips app where you can upload photos also, or you can call the hotline 1-800-222-TIPS. Well, that's a look at some of the cases police need your help to solve this weekend. I hope you'll join us for the full show to see all of the crimes on Washington's Most Wanted tonight at 11 o'clock on Q13 Fox. And it also airs tomorrow night, Saturday night at 9:30 on Joe TV, 10:30 on Q13 Fox, and 10:30 on our Fox stations in Spokane, Yakima, and the Tri-Cities. And together, let's make sure these criminals have nowhere left to hide.